Boris Johnson's government is currently going down in the polls. Corruption allegations are troubling the Tories. Among other things, titles of nobility are said to have been awarded against payment. So, more and more serious corruption allegations against Boris Johnson are currently to be heard in London. The Conservative ex-head of government, Sir John Major, accused Boris Johnson at the beginning of the week of having acted in shameful and unworthy ways and thus to destroy the good reputation of our parliament. Opposition politicians are demanding a full investigation of all allegations against the Prime Minister and his government in this regard. At a special session of the House of Commons on Monday, Johnson should comment on the allegations against him. Instead, he stayed away from the meeting, which caused even more frustration, including in his own party. Tory-friendly newspapers in London reported that individual backbenchers were already secretly preparing to be voted out. In opinion polls, its popularity has dropped to a new low. The Labour Party and the British Greens, on the other hand, made up ground. The excitement had triggered Johnson's spectacular parliamentary manoeuvre last week, or was triggered by it, with which he sought to block the 6-week expulsion of a former minister and Brexit hardliner from the House of Commons, which was imposed as a punishment. Owen Paterson has been convicted of all forms of corruption by the relevant bodies in Westminster. He had had 2 companies pay him £110,000 a year to secretly lobby for those companies. Johnson instructed his parliamentary group to suspend the due expulsion decision for Paterson and, moreover, to replace the all-party non-governmental anti-corruption system in Parliament with a new system. This should be drafted and adopted by a completely new committee with a built-in Tory majority. Before the vote on this reform and on Paterson's exemption from punishment, reluctant Tory MPs were pressured by the government by all means. The process caused such outrage, of course, that Johnson had to do a complete U-turn the next day. You might have seen my video on that one. The fact that Economics Minister Kwasi Kwarteng, presumably on behalf of Johnson, bluntly urged the independent guardian of morals in Parliament, Catherine Stone, to resign, also contributed to the sharp reaction in the Tory ranks. The incident led John Major to describe Johnson's government as politically corrupt and completely unconservative. The Tory chairman of the Defence Committee in the House of Commons, Tobias Ellwood, spoke of a dark week for British democracy. The government, said Ellwood, has apparently lost the moral compass. Another Conservative committee chairman and ex-minister, Karen Bradley, said the government had humiliated and ignored Parliament in intolerable ways. Much to Johnson's chagrin, the Owen Paterson affair has brought to light all of the recent allegations against the Prime Minister and his party. Like Paterson, other Tories are said to have given lucrative COVID contracts that were not even advertised by the government to interested donors or simply acquaintances and friends. At the weekend, the Conservative Sunday Times also revealed that the Tories had long established wealthy patrons who donated at least £3 million each to the party to obtain titles of nobility and seats in the British Upper House, the second legislative chamber of Parliament, the unelected one. Johnson had granted billionaire Peter Cruddas this privilege late last year against the express will of the House of Lords Appointment Committee. Johnson himself has also been targeted several times by moral guardian Stone. The Anti-Corruption Commissioner of Parliament is currently considering opening a case against him because a feudal renovation of his official apartment was apparently temporarily financed by a wealthy patron, contrary to all regulations. Another allegation is that the Prime Minister, at the invitation of a wealthy acquaintance in Spain, spent a free holiday there without declaring it at home. Boris Johnson, his former chief advisor Cummings said yesterday, was a dud that the Tories should get rid of as quickly as possible. And I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.